Alright everyone, good morning. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 10:30. And today we have our serious day 1 outlook to look at today. Whoops, not right link. Here is our day 1 outlook from yesterday. We now have a moderate risk here. We'll have a doing moderate risk here. So again, like we said yesterday, discussed yesterday, we have a moderate risk for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. We have now 2 enhanced. There is 1 enhanced down here for parts of Texas and Oklahoma. And there was another one here for parts of Kansas, going into Missouri, Iowa, going over to Nebraska, going over into Illinois, up into Wisconsin, Minnesota, and a little bit of South Dakota there. We now have a slight risk that extends from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Illinois, even over into Michigan, through Minnesota, going to just a little bit of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and back through Kansas. So there you have it. Those are we have a marginal risk too. And we have a marginal risk that extends from Texas through Oklahoma. A little bit of Arkansas can get a little bit of that. But it goes through Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, going through Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and back into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So yes, we do have that potential for today. So, like we discussed yesterday, we have Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Bloomington, and Plymouth under a moderate. Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Madison, Des Moines, and Rockford under an enhanced. Chicago, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita under a slight. And St. Louis, Lubbock, Grand Rapids, Springfield, Missouri, and Springfield, Illinois under a marginal. So we do have that potential for today. So like we had yesterday, please stay safe if any of you are, especially in the moderate risk areas. Going into the tornado threat for today, we have a 15% hatched for parts of Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. We have 10% hatched that includes parts of Iowa, going into a little bit of Illinois, but Wisconsin and Minnesota mainly do have that 10% hatched. We do also have a small 10% down here in Oklahoma. Looks like it is hatched too. Wow, holy cow. And then the 5% we do have extending from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, over into Illinois, into Iowa. And just a little bit of Minnesota has it, or Wisconsin has that. Going into Minnesota, a little bit of South Dakota and Nebraska, back through Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We have a 2% that extends from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and then going into Michigan, going back through Minnesota, a little bit of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas do have that 2% tornado risk. So yes, this is a very, very huge tornado risk today. We have Minneapolis, St. Paul, Madison, Des Moines, and Rockford under the significant severe. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Bloomington, and Plymouth under the 15% hatched. Madison, Des Moines, Rockford, Cedar Rapids, and Green Bay under the 10% hatched. Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Omaha, and Wichita under the 5%. And Chicago, Tulsa, Lincoln, Sioux Falls, and Joliet under the 2%. So we do have a very, very extremely busy day for tornadoes. 15% hatched, you could see a good EF3, EF4. We can't really rule out an EF5, but it sure is possible. Strong tornadoes are possible today. 10%, you could see EF2 to EF3 potential possible. So that's for the 10% hatched. 5% hatched, you could see 1 to 2 inch, EF1 to EF2 tornado possible. And then 2%, you could just see a brief EF0, maybe an EF1 possible. But please be sure that no matter what tornado it is, take the necessary precautions. Going into the damaging wind risk now, we've got a 30% for Minnesota and Wisconsin. We do have a 15% that extends from Texas. Extends from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, going over into Nebraska, South Dakota, and Minnesota, having the 15%. 5%, it extends from Texas over through Oklahoma. A little bit of Arkansas has that. Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. There's the reset. Going through Minnesota. A little bit of teeny tiny bit of North Dakota does have it, if you can see that. South Dakota, Nebraska, a little bit of Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas do have the 5% wind risk. So we do have that potential for today. So we have Minneapolis, St. Paul, Green Bay, Rochester, and Bloomington under the 30%. Chicago, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, and Tulsa under the 10%. And Omaha, St. Louis, Lincoln, Lubbock, and Grand Rapids under the 5%. So I definitely will recommend, not recommend, but say that 30% you could see good damaging wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour, maybe even 85, maybe even pushing 90 miles per hour. That could be a possibility for today. 10%, we could see a good, 15%, we could see a good damaging wind gust of 60 to 80, maybe even 75 miles per hour possible. And then for the 5%, we could just see 60 to 70 miles per hour wind gusts possible into the 5% area here. Excuse me. Alright, going into the hail threat for today, we have a 30% for parts of, 30% hatch, for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, a little bit of Missouri, Nebraska, and a little bit of Kansas having that too. We do also have a 30% hatch for parts of Texas and Oklahoma. We do also have a 15% hatch for parts of Texas going through Oklahoma, into Nebraska, going into South Dakota, and then normal 15% we have from Oklahoma through just a little bit of Kansas, going through Missouri, Illinois, a little bit of Wisconsin has that, even a little bit of Michigan has that too, going through Minnesota, a teeny tiny bit of North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska having the normal 15%. And then 5% we have going from Texas through Oklahoma, through Arkansas, and then Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, going up through Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, having the 5%. So we do have this significant hail threat too. So we have Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Minneapolis, and Wichita under the significant severe. Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Madison under the 30% hatched. Chicago, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita under the 15%. And St. Louis, Lubbock, Grand Rapids, Springfield, Missouri, and Springfield, Illinois under the 5%. So I definitely will say for the 30% area, hatched area, you could see a good hailstone of at least 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches possible, so please be mindful of that. 15% hatched, you could see a good 1 to 3.5 inch hail possible. 15% you could see 1 to 3 inch hail possible, and 5% you could see 1 to 2 inch hail possible today. So please be mindful wherever you may be. You may be under tornado risk, damaging wind risk, and a hail risk today. The summary for today does say, multiple corridors of severe thunderstorms are expected across the upper Midwest later today into tonight, with a regional severe weather outbreak possible. The most dangerous period is likely during the late afternoon and evening, when strong tornado potential should be maximized. Scattered large to very large hail and damaging winds are likely as well. So there you have it. There is the outlook for today. There's today's hail risk. There's today's wind risk. There's today's tornado risk. And there's today's day one outlook. So I do really hope that you stay weather aware and stay safe. Make sure you have a plan to get to your safe place. even when you're sleeping tonight, because storms are going to be continuing after it gets dark and after you go to bed. So please make sure you have multiple ways of being woken up to severe weather, whether that would be your NOAA weather radio, your cell phone, your television outlets, your internet source, whatever it is you use. Make sure you get that so you can get to your safe place. Excuse me. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Stay weather aware and stay safe. I will be back later with another Day 1 Outlook update if it updates. If not, I will be back with the Day 2 Outlook. But anyway, stay weather aware and stay safe, and take care.